now your hosts, Ryan Kane and Zach Daughtry.
Good evening, barbecue family, and welcome to another episode of Midwest Backyard Matters presented by Man Meat BBQ. Whether you are out on the driveway, in the backyard, or out on the KCBS Backyard Competition Trail, always remember that backyard matters. As usual, the show is brought to you by me, Zach Daughtry, and my co-host, Ryan Kane. Ryan, how are you tonight, bud?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Haven't talked to you in a few days, really. And how'd your weekend go?
Went pretty well. We were in St. Louis. We had a memorial thing kind of for my mom who passed away back in November. Cooked a lot of food. It was a ton of fun, though. We had a good time. I saw you got out there and unveiled the new team name and made a little bit of noise in the process.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on the name change, and won't go into exactly how that came about, but it was just time to make a change on the team name just to avoid some innocent confusion, especially after the Made for KC comp, and unveiled the new team name, and people are pretty digging it so far, and we are too. We think it's something totally different and kind of cool. We like it. And then we went and did the Juneteenth. I guess the official name is the Clay County Juneteenth rib contest in Liberty on Saturday, and we were reserve grand, and we're pretty stoked about that.
That's awesome. Yeah, especially for not cooking for a long time. You and I have had a bunch of conversations about getting back into cooking ribs for contests and all that stuff, so I'm glad all the practice paid off, man.
Oh man, no, ribs were always one of our weakest categories. I mean, really, like we would nail pork, we would nail brisket, and chicken would be okay, and ribs, for whatever reason, last couple of years we were just not doing too good in ribs, and so we changed up our flavor profile and a little bit on the method of the cook itself, and changed up the sauce and the finishing dust. I mean, we really pretty much overhauled it, practiced a whole bunch, and went out there and we're really, even though we didn't win, shout out to Kevin and Weekend Bum for grand champion, we were really happy to go out there and shake it up with a mix of pros, backyard guys, and first-time cooks, and come away with reserve grand and a 174 score. So, we were really happy with how we did.
That's awesome, dude. Yep, there's Kevin commenting right there.
Yeah, hey, Kevin.
Weird,
like I said, congrats again, bud.
When we're talking about him.
Yeah, no joke. No, it was, like I said, it was cool to hang out. We were in between Devin with Fluffy Butt and Bree and Bradley with Black Magic. So it was really cool to hang out with those guys and talk barbecue and just kind of get to know them a little bit better. So it was a good time. It was, like I said, there's only 14 teams. So it was really good comp, really well run. No, definitely would look forward to doing it again. But really pleased with how we did over the weekend.
That's awesome. So what's the next one on your schedule then?
So we're doing a non-sanctioned in Boonville on Saturday. It was one of those where, even though it's non-KCBS, it was 3 categories for $50. It was just one of those, like, given the money situation, we could not pass up. It's also kind of an interesting competition with some very non-traditional categories for barbecue. So it's ribs, it's chicken wings, and as a St. Louis guy, you're going to appreciate this, it's pork steak.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. I think it's kind of different. Hey, Lim, how you doing, man? And then there's going to be a beans. They're going to kind of operate like an ancillary. It's free to enter, and it's a winner take all. So we're going to go over there, and it's going to be at Berkey's Barbecue in downtown Boonville on Saturday. I think Bradley Vollmer is going to be there. I think Kyle Hamburg might be there. I can't remember, but it'll be a good time. Kind of just a different thing for us, but just get out there and compete and hang out with people. It's always a good time.
That's awesome, dude. Well, should we get into the recap?
Yeah, let's get into the recap of this weekend's backyard barbecue action for KCBS. So we had the Morris Rhythm and Barbecue Festival out of Morris, Illinois. Top 10, Smoke, Fire, and Brew, grand champion. Barbecue Mike with reserve grand. Schmack Q, 3rd overall. PIG 4th. 309 Barbecue 5th. Stone Cold Grillers 6th. Oak Park Barbecue 7th. Picture Me Smoking 8th. Rusty Pig 9. And Ishi Lynx 10th overall to round out the top 10 at Morris Rhythm and Barbecue. In York County Barbecue Festival in Delta, Pennsylvania, we had MRC Barbecue Grand Champion, Mispillion Meat Works Reserve Grand, Hopeless Rack Addicts 3rd, Colonel Buck's Barbecue 4th, Weber's Backyard Barbecue 5th, Red Smoke Barbecue 6th, Sticks and Stones 7th, Zony Q 8th, Brewski's Barbecue 9th, and Wheelin' and Dealin' to round out the top 10 in York County. At the Camp High Hopes Rib Fest in Sioux City, Iowa, we had Good Old Boys Barbecue taking grand champion. Hillbilly Smoke wins reserve grand. 7.62 Barbecue 3rd, Rockin' Hogs 4th, Diggers Barbecue 5th, Patty's Pit Stop 6th, Pig and Heat Barbecue 7th, Barbecue Pit Boys 8th, 2B's Barbecue 9th, and Lewis Brothers Family Barbecue to round out the top 10 at the Camp High Hopes Rib Fest. We also had the Almost Heaven Barbecue Bash out in Roanoke, West Virginia. Little E's Q Grand Champion. Limbs Meat Varnish. Shout out to Chris Lemon and Limbs Meat Varnish Reserve Grand. Golden Blue, Travis Murphy, 3rd overall. Dog Patch Q 4th. Better Half Barbecue 5th. TNS 6th. Ham Squad 7th. Poor Boys Barbecue 8th. Uncle Dubby's Backyard 9th. And Sweet Rick's to round out the top 10 at the Almost Heaven Barbecue Bash. Last but not least, we had the Squeal on the Eel Festival in Logansport, Indiana. Get Your Butt Over Here takes grand champion. Voodoo's Reserve Grand. Dead Swine 3rd. Flash's Barbecue 4th. Surmer's Stout Barbecue 5th. Clifford Cooker 6th. Z 7th overall. Brews on the Site Barbecue for 8th. Boiler Barbecue, Casey Jones 9th. And the Husky Fellas round out your top 10 at the Squeal on the Eel Festival in Logansport, Indiana. Some updates, some shakeups in the Team of the Year Backyard Chicken Chase. Hanging in still in first is Rib Life. Veteran Pork Pullers moves up to 2nd. The Fat is where it's at 3rd. Hess Hogs and Josh Hess remains in 4th. Our buddies Joey Lee and Drew Wilson move up to 5th overall. Brian Calhoun and Weeze's Groove and Barbecue stay at 6th. Ham Squad 7th. Leela Q moves up to 8th. Two Swine Crew moves up to 9th, and Tasker's Barbecue rounds up your top 10 of the year backyard chicken results. Dog Patch Q moves into the lead for backyard ribs at number 1. Leela Q at 2. The Fat is where it's at 3rd. Weeze's Groove in 4th. Hickory Hangover moves up to 5th. Robert Jackson and Swinalicious moves up to 6th. TFS Pit Vipers moves up to 7th. Alan Larimore and Wrecking Crew Barbecue move up to 8th overall in backyard ribs. Ham Squad 9 and Cane's Barbecue rounds out the top 10 in the points chase for backyard ribs.
That's awesome. I mean, they're already pretty much hitting close to max points, so that's really impressive.
Also, really good. What I've noticed, there's really a good mix now. It seems like Midwest guys, Deep South guys, and Mid-Atlantic guys. It seems like they're kind of all in the mix there. Always really good. Not that we don't support our barbecue family in the Mid-Atlantic or the Deep South, but it's really good to see Midwest guys hanging in there in the points chases in those two categories. It's always really good to see.
Absolutely. I hope a lot of those guys consider making the trip out to Gadsden this year in November, because that'll be a hell of a contest.
Yeah, absolutely. That should be a really, really good one. Absolutely. Well, Ryan, let's get into our guest for this evening. So we are really happy and excited to bring on our guest this evening. It is Mr. Man Meat BBQ himself, Aaron Stoffer.
Hey, guys, what's up? Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on, Aaron.
Yeah, hey, you might hear a little bit of crying, but that's the life of a young family.
Oh, hey, man.
Is that Minnie or the baby?
It's Barbecue.
There you go. I was wondering what the nickname was going to be. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron, kind of tell us about yourself. Tell us about your brand a little bit, and how did you get involved in barbecue?
Sure. Yeah. So Aaron Stoffer, head pet master, Man Meat BBQ. Been cooking competitively since 2014 on the circuit. And when we started, there wasn't the backyard, so we just jumped head first in, and I think at the backyard at that point was just random contests. I mean, I did a few backyard type of events that didn't have any sanctioning or anything of that nature. Our very first contest was a 5-team contest in Spring Hill in 2014. and we ended up winning it. And so I was like, shoot, we guess we can cook. And so we went out and got instantly beat down in our first Master Series event. So, and so that, I mean, we started out slow and we've been cooking, let's say, a lot since 2019. So, but yeah, I mean, the team is myself, my wife, Minnie, who, my oldest daughter, Reagan. So she's 4.5. And then the new one, our little baby is Renly. And I guess we're dubbing her Barbecutie. So, but yeah, and the dog shows up at every contest.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the little dog pool too. That's my favorite personal
part.
part.
Oh, well, it's Reagan's swimming pool.
Oh, it's Reagan's? Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the kiddie pool. Yeah. The dog doesn't actually get in it. When pigs die, their dog Blaze, if you've been out to a Master Series when they've been at a contest, you'll see Blaze, and he loves the pool. So he'll jump in.
That's awesome. So how did you get started kind of just cooking in general, Aaron? Was it just kind of at home, or is it something that somebody kind of, you kind of were taught?
Well, I mean, I grew up, I'm a country guy. So I grew up in the middle of nowhere. We did a lot of camping and as a kid. And I guess my earliest memories of actually true barbecuing was from a family, going to a family reunion. And we would actually have a hog that I'd helped strip and get dressed out for the pit, and we would just bury the thing in the ground and have a whole roast hog for the the entire family reunion. And so that was really my earliest memories of barbecuing. And then of course when what got a lot of people in when Barbecue Pitmasters came out. It got those juices flowing. I cook steaks and burgers and, whatever on the grill outside. But, it was the competition. And, I grew up playing sports, and I'm like, I'm a, overweight, middle-aged dude that still wants to compete. I want that competitive fire. So, Barbecue Pitmasters came out. And I'm like, wow, there's this whole world out there of competition barbecue. So that sounds kind of cool. And so we decided to start cooking. We didn't start cooking to compete, but it just looked fun. I'm like, man, I can do that. And so we just started cooking that way. And in fact, my next door neighbor, at our previous house, he had a little Oklahoma Joe's, backyard 16-inch. It was, 16-inch diameter, 30-inch cook chamber, offset Oklahoma Joe's. And we're just talking one day, and he's like, I saw this thing under his deck. It's been there for 4 years, and it just kept getting more and more buried in the dirt. It never moved. And so I'm like, hey, would you be open to let me buy that from you? And anyway, he just gave it to me, and he's like, I have a deal for you. If you cook on it, whenever you cook, just bring me a plate of food. And, and that was, how it all began. And the very first plate of food that I took him, I believe it was salmon and some pulled pork. So really odd mixture, but I think that was the first plate that I took to him, and he came running out on his deck. He's like, oh my God, this is so good. He's like, you should go compete. I'm like, I just cooked my first piece of meat. And I'm like, that started in 2012 when we got that. But a couple of years later, we started competing, and kind of the rest is.
I'd like to have a statistic, of how many guys got started after watching Pitmasters. Because, I know, for me personally, that's how I got hooked. I mean, I didn't start competing with Katie until 2020. But I mean, I think it was around 2012, 2013 was the first time I ever watched it. And I remember I was just instantaneously hooked on that show, watched every season. And especially that first season, where they were following the 6 or 7 pitmasters. I can't remember how many it was, but it was like Myron Mixon and Puffy Stone and all those guys. And I mean, I was just enthralled. And I thought, oh my God, I have to get into this. And I didn't have a chance to because I was in grad school at the time. But it was one of those things, like, it got me hooked, and I know a lot of other guys have had similar experiences from that one show.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's a ton of people out there that are like, oh, this is whole new world. That's perfect for the middle-aged, overweight dude.
Right?
I mean, and there are plenty of women in barbecue too that
For sure.
that can beat most of us. So it's crazy. But
yeah, absolutely. John Witt says he used to set alarms to wake up and watch the show. Yeah, I mean, it was a great show. It was really definitely one to watch. So it's one thing, to dive, talking, from competition barbecue into your brand. It's one thing to dive headfirst into the world of competition barbecue, but it's another to launch yourself into the world of the barbecue industry and have your own line of rubs and sauces. So what was the drive to shift a little bit from just competing and using other people's products to developing your own and then putting them out on the market?
So, I mean, it's actually kind of interesting. We've never really used other people's products.
Really?
Ever since we started, we were, and maybe that's what took us so long to get to where we are. We started out making our own rub, making our own sauce, and we would layer in here and there some other products. But I mean, our primary flavor has always been made in our kitchen. And so, in 2014, we only cooked one KCBS event. In 15, I think it was 6 or 7. You can go back to barbecue data. I think there was one that wasn't sanctioned, but so I don't know if that was number 7 or what. But 2016 we cooked 2, and then from there, in 17 and 18 we cooked 14 each year, and both years we ended up 265th in the ranking. And in 17 and 18 there were over 5,000 teams in the overall rankings, and it was just crazy to hit the same the same position 2 years in a row. We're like, we set a goal in 2019, and we're like, we're going to be top 100, and that was our goal. And we finished 11th in 2019, and we came out, and I mean, we took the hot and fast class in January, or I took it, and that was our second class that we had taken ever. But took Rod Gray's class, and then in 16. But yeah, I took the class in January of 19, and then we won our first 2 events. We actually won 3 of our first 6 in 2019, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, we just started getting a ton of people like, hey, what are you using? What are you doing? How did you all of a sudden just like turn it on? And so we're like, well, we're just using our stuff. I made a change in my sauce at the end of 2018, and basically threw out what I was using before and just made a whole new batch and started from scratch. And that's where Sweet and Smoky came from. And I mean, and it's a killer sauce. I mean, and our spicy was, we had a spicy, but we didn't release it for a while. So we came out first with our Sweet and Smoky and the Tangy Tennessee, which is a great vinegar wrap sauce. But yeah, I mean, it was because people started asking, like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, well, it's just what I make on my counter. And so, it's like, well, then people are like, well, how do I get that? If you just make it on your counter, I want to use it. And I'm like, I'm not going to go down that path. And then we started getting people asking, oh, are you going to ever do a class? And because we use our own products, it wouldn't make sense for us to do a class if you couldn't actually replicate what we. I still haven't done a class, and I to this day still think that I'm not the one to do a class. And there are enough classes out there, but it got the ball rolling anyway for our products to get out, and so we've just been focused on making sure that the product is a really good product that has good balance. It's different than anything else that's actually on the market, and it's different in what I was looking for in my flavor profile.
For sure.
So was Sweet and Smoky the first one that you came out with, or were the rubs kind of along the same line? Did they all kind of come out together in that first batch? I mean, I know Home Style and the Spicy came out a little bit later, but
yeah. So the rub. So when we started going with the co-packer, which is, I mean, I'm glad I have a co-packer because it makes the job easy, and for the difference between what I was paying to make it at home and what they can do and send it to me, it's about the same anyway. And anyway, so I started down the line of sauce first. We started that in October of 2019, but it did not get done first. Our rubs came out before sauce came out. It just took that long for our sauce to get right. I wasn't happy with it. We went. It was almost a year, if not longer. We're right about that for when it came out. But so Kansas City Style is the first rub that we made, and we called it number 2. That like my recipe book says number 2, and Texas Style is number 3. And so we were like, okay, let's get these going. We didn't start those until April with the co-packer, and they nailed them. They just like it's easy when I had the recipe and I sent it to them in weight, and they came back. Texas Style was nailed first try. Kansas City Style took 2 tries, and they got it spot on. So it's just been a pretty interesting process. But there are a lot of products out there, and you can easily get lost on that shelf. There's KC Grilling Company, I don't know how many, 400 SKUs just on rubs alone, or something like that. Greg over at American Fire's got 350, or there's just so many, and so it's when you get that get lost in the shelves, you really have to figure out, okay, what is it that sets you apart, and that's the challenge, right? It's constantly the challenge. But barbecue for us is still a hobby, and I mean, I won't turn it into a full-time business. I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy barbecue, and I think the best way to do that is just continue to put out a good product, focus on it as a hobby, enjoy the time, love seeing everybody using our product and what they can do with it. So yeah, Travis hit a sausage with a little Home Style in Bixby. That did pretty well down there. So, but yeah, no, I mean it's just been a constant process, and I don't know that I'm gonna put too much more into products because I don't know that I need to overwhelm the shelf. So there's a lot out there already.
For sure. I mean, I remember the first week that I started at KC Grilling Company, I think was the same week that you debuted KC Style and the Texas Style. And I remember that Texas Style, the first time I had it, was like, holy cow. Like, it was just so different from everything else that I had out there. That's still one that I use at home just on any random piece of meat I have. It's so much more versatile than I think it was even originally designed as. Yeah.
If you the thing about Texas Style, if you take it through a burr grinder, not to a dust, but like make it the same consistency as Kansas City Style, it changes flavor. So it's most rubs when you grind it either gets saltier or they get spicier. Texas style doesn't do that. It actually changes flavor. Yeah.
So you and I both took Travis Duffy's class in February. I'm using Tangy Tennessee and Homestyle now in a couple of my meats, and I absolutely love them.
That's awesome. I mean, it's funny because Travis, so he got to run the secret stash of Homestyle, right? Homestyle didn't come out publicly until the day before Thanksgiving, and last year. But Travis Duffy was playing with Homestyle all year long, and he went to town. He won I think he won 180 chicken, or something like. I think he got second place with the 180 chicken, and it was covered in Homestyle. I mean, and it's been one of those rubs that it just has some flavors that are different than any other SPG on the market, and it really highlights whatever you use it on. And there's really not anything that we haven't used it on. I mean, I love that product more on vegetables, just anything that we cook at home. It goes on, and it is. I made a home style sour cream to go on my potatoes. It's stupid. It's really good to just play with that in so many ways, which is what I enjoy doing most anyway. I mean, I would rather use all of my products on something that's not barbecue than to use it on barbecue. I mean, they do great on barbecue, and Travis Duffy's out there killing it. I mean, he's using all 6 of our products, and we use everything at every contest. So there's actually only 4. We have. Let me think about this. There are only 4 rubs in my entire competition lineup, and 3 of them are ours. So there are 4 sauces. So, and 3 of them are ours. So we don't, there's interesting ways of combining all 3 of them together, and it does some awesome stuff.
No, the Homestyle is. I mean, it's so different. It's got those notes in there that just really are unique. From anything else out there in the market. I know a couple weekends ago, Katie hates them, but I used Homestyle. I smoked up chicken livers, and I put on chicken livers, and I love chicken livers. Just a little factoid with me, and they were so good. That rub was so good on smoked chicken livers that I was just like, I'm never using anything else on if I'm going to do this just in the backyard again. It's such a totally unique rub. And then to the point you just made about Travis Duffy. What a thrill it is must have been for you to have a guy working in your product into his program and to win the American Royal.
Yeah, it really it was really awesome to see, and it was like sitting there, like, in a way it felt like we were part of that win. Like, holy crap. I mean, then I immediately went to him. I said, okay, you have to tell me what you're doing. How are you using our stuff? And so I was at his class too. So it was pretty interesting. But sure. I mean, it was really cool because the winner of the American Royal used our stuff. That was the open, and so in the red zone, he was, I think, 5th in ribs at the Royal. He uses our stuff on ribs. The guy who reserved Sin Circle reserved the Invitational uses our stuff. Boom Chicka Cow Cow, I think they were 4th in the Invitational. They were using our stuff. I mean, it was just really, really cool to see the number of teams that were using our products that walk stage, and at the biggest competition in the world. So it was just awesome.
Yeah. So, let's shift the focus here from cooking at competition to just cooking at home. So let's, I'm going to give you a scenario. So let's say you're cooking at home for family and friends, and you had to pick one thing to cook. what would you choose to cook for the people at your house?
Kebabs.
Really?
Kebabs. Yeah. Just chicken, steak, shrimp, onions, peppers, right on the grill. Just the best. It's the best way to eat clean, the best way to showcase the food. And I mean, and honestly, I love, like every time we have people over, it seems that we're always putting kebabs on the grill. Just a great way to get a good mix of flavors and a great way to showcase different things in our rubs. And again, we only use our rubs when we cook. I mean, our spice cabinet has gotten pretty thin. It's 3 bottles in the cabinet.
That's a pretty good problem to have. I remember that prime rib horseradish sauce that you made out at Greg's store. And like, I still think about that on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, crazy. And two products, right? Home style and Texas style and that no injection, just straight, just threw it on the pellet and cooked it, perfect medium rare. And that horseradish was tangy Tennessee. I mean, tangy Tennessee and home style in some sour cream and horseradish. It's just a little lemon.
Ooh, that does sound good.
It's really interesting. And it's interesting how versatile all of those different products are. But like tangy Tennessee is great just as salad dressing. It's great. You mix it with mayo and you have Thousand Island. You mix it, with a bunch of different things, and it creates some really unique things. I mean, vinegar. It's got some hot pepper in it. It's a good mixer for things.
Yeah,
I think if you ever decided you did want to do a class, I think just doing a how diverse the line of rubs could be type of class. I mean, not a competition one, but just a super fun what you can do with 3 or 4 products during the weeknight would be a blast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's actually, if that was exactly what my thought has been, is like, if we do a class, it's going to be more just how to cook, how to cook, how to use flavors in, what you think of as barbecue flavors, how to use them in non-barbecue ways. So we try to put some of that stuff out. We have a website that has some of those recipes that we've done and we've used. The real manmeatbbq.com. You can see there's a recipe page, and we try to put some recipes on there. And then we've done a few things on our YouTube channel, which I know a lot of people maybe not know that we have a YouTube channel, but I think it was after 2019. Well, during COVID, we decided to put our comp rib recipe out there. So it is the most watched video on our channel. And I've asked people who are doing well when we were struggling in ribs. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, hey, yeah, I caught this video on YouTube once that showed me how to do a competition of ribs, and that's what I'm doing. And it was my video. So sometimes I go back and watch it myself. So it's kind of interesting. But so we've done some videos there. But yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just, I'd rather just give away, our recipes and ways to cook for free instead of actually paying and making people pay for classes. So, I'm hoping to get out and do more just demo cooks in stores and just cooking different things. And that's really, I need to slow down cooking every weekend to be able to do that though.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
So I think we kind of all know that barbecue doesn't really exist, or it does, but it doesn't exist in that vacuum. Who's been that person that kind of has kind of shown you a lot, or that you just, have a lot of respect for?
So early on, I mean, one of my biggest mentors in barbecue that really got me going in the right direction, Lauren Hill of the Smoking Hills. And so 2015, if you don't know who Lauren Hill is, I mean, if he doesn't cook a whole lot anymore, he's busy at the lake all the time. But there are a few contests that he cooks. And if you ever get out, I mean, he's one of the nicest guys in barbecue. and he really kind of took me under his wing for a little while. In 2015, he won the American Royal and won the World Food Contest. So, I mean, in the same year, 2-time world champion. So it's just incredible. And he's got 300 and some cooks under his belt. I mean, he used to cook on Weber Smoky Joe's and pull up in a minivan and pull out his WSMs, and he just beat people. It was he really is a good steward of barbecue, but he really helped us out a lot. But now, I mean, really, I find my inspiration actually. My wife is actually who keeps pushing me in barbecue. It's like I was making a comment like, maybe we'll slow down. Maybe we'll just cook 10, 15 contests this year. And she's like, no, you're not. We're cooking 30. And so I guess we're cooking 30.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So we got a question on our Facebook page, and it kind of just segues into that, just kind of, passing on that information. Someone on our Facebook, his name's Don, said, do you have any suggestions for a backyard team that has gone from regularly getting calls to one that is consistently finishing in the bottom third with no real ideas on how to right the ship?
Well, simplify. What I found, so we kind of went through this from 2019 to 2020. I mean, 2020 we came out, and I mean we were number one in the world for a while, but I knew that wasn't going to last because we hadn't won a contest. We were number one, but we were constantly getting second and third, and 2020 was just really strange. But we were just missing. It was just like in one category would always just seem to be failing us, and it was actually ribs. It was ribs that just kept killing us. And so we have gone all the way back and stripped everything out of it and just cooked ribs just with one rub, and then just started little by little making very, very small changes. Just because what we get in our way, when we are cooking every week, it's so mechanical, very robotic. I mean, I can run my program without actually waking up. It seems, right? It's like it just happens. It just goes through the motions. I look at the clock. I know what needs to be done. And the little things that you do sometimes in that process, a little bit different, really can make your end result a lot further. So just go back and just strip everything back and just start again, would be what I would say. We tend to overthink barbecue. It's just barbecue, right? It's a piece of meat. Put some balanced flavors on it, cook it, put a good balanced sauce on it, and it's just going to be amazing. And I think we're seeing more of that simplification. Mm-hmm. Like we had, I think the last couple of years before this year, I think we had 8 rubs. We're using 4 total for our entire cook.
No, I think you're right, Aaron. I mean, it's one of those things, like if you're so competitive and you want to do well and you don't get those results you're looking for, you get like myself. I can speak for myself. I can't speak for Ryan or you. I get in my own head, and Katie can tell you that all the time. I'm always constantly, even at a contest, which is sometimes to my detriment, I'll be in my head. What can I do different? What can I do different? And I did it this weekend, and we already turned in ribs, and it was like, and Katie said, well, you can't do anything about it now. And I felt really bad when she walked it, and of course it turned out good. But no, I think when you slow down, you simplify the process and you get back to your basics, and then you just introduce those variables slowly but surely, it can turn things around for you.
Yeah, if you take this, and Travis Duffy would tell you, you take your basic recipe, just a good basic rub, your all-purpose rub, and your sauce, and at the end, what he does with everything is just hit it with home style, and you have good product. But I mean, it's amazing at what that one rub does to barbecue.
Absolutely. Well, lastly here, Aaron, what's next for Man Meat BBQ? Do you have any new products in development? And also want to make sure our viewers can know where to find your great line of products.
So for us, I mean, we're just going to continue cooking this year, see what this year goes, how this year goes competition wise. Nothing really new. Every time I think about making a new product, I get hit in the back of the head. So, from my wife, she's like, "Why? We have 6 great products. Let's just go with those." And so there is one that I'm playing with. It's a tweak to home style that it's more just. I think about it just for having my own dip. Really is what I'm looking for. Just adding something to that rub to make it a little bit different. And so that would be the only thing. Absolutely, wives are always right. And that would be the only thing that I might do. But if I come up with that, it's not going to be out for quite some time. I just want to see what these rubs and sauces do. And it's awesome to see what is going on with them now. I mean, we're in 3 countries, and I think 20 states. And so I have it on our website. There's where you can find us tab. And I know I need to update that. There was a couple new states that we've gotten into, but all of our products have been put into those states by the viewers, right? That people who want to use our product that don't want to pay my shipping, just go into your local barbecue store, your local hardware store, and ask them to bring us in. And if they want to bring us in, they just send them to our website. We are still distributing our own stuff, so it all goes through us. I ship it out. I mean, in the night and on weekends, and so, or you can buy it directly from us on our website, therealmanmeatbbq.com. And for all the viewers on this group, we have a discount code that is now live. It's 15% off, and it'll stay good. It doesn't have a expiration date, but it is BBQ Matters is the discount code, and it will save you 15% on individual rubs and sauces. So it's not going to save you anything on the gift boxes or anything because those are already discounted. But on rubs and sauces individually, BBQ Matters on your entire order. So 15%.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
No, thanks for doing that, Aaron. Aaron, do you want to leave our viewers with anything before we let you go here tonight?
Oh, well, just get in the backyard and cook, have fun, enjoy it, just play. I mean, it literally play with rubs, sauces, and it's amazing at what you can do with a sliced tomato and just sprinkle it with a little Texas style or home style. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on tonight, Aaron.
Hey, appreciate having me.
All right.
Thanks a lot, dude. So real quick before we leave, I just want to take an opportunity to kind of say thank you again to Aaron for coming onto the show. When Zach and I were first kind of talking about making this thing happening, we realized we probably needed to kind of look for sponsors, and Aaron actually just kind of stepped up and said, "Hey, I'll sponsor the show. We'll cover this," and that's huge for a couple of guys who didn't. We knew what we wanted to do, but not necessarily how to do it. That was massive, and that kind of just shows Aaron's commitment to not only the backyard, but just kind of the barbecue scene as a whole. And that's great. So thank you very much to him. Thank you for you guys for watching the show.
Yeah, absolutely. No, like Ryan said, it was a huge thing for him to step up and want to sponsor us. It was kind of, we didn't really know how to approach people. We didn't want to hit up. It's kind of difficult hitting up friends for money, right, and support. And Aaron, approached us and said, "I believe in what you guys are doing, and I would love to sponsor the show." So yeah, a huge thanks on the part of Midwest Backyard Matters, because honestly, without Aaron and our other sponsors, this show would not be possible. And it would be possible to share our passion and love for barbecue and competition barbecue with you guys without our great sponsors. So, Ryan, you got anything left in the tank tonight before we go?
Nope, not really. Everybody go cook.
All right. Well, guys, this has been another episode of Midwest Backyard Matters presented by Man Meat BBQ. Remember, if you're out on the driveway, in the backyard, or even out on the KCBS Backyard Competition Trail, always remember that backyard matters. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace, everybody.
Midwest Backyard Matters, brought to you by Man Meat BBQ. Additional sponsors: American Fire Barbecue and Grilling Supply, Sofa King Awesome Barbecue, Trauma Hogs Barbecue, and Hunsaker Smokers.